Hi everyone, my name is Denis.
And my name is Aleksas, and I will be moderating this talk. I have a big pleasure of welcoming you here. Hopefully, all of you guys enjoyed some great fun while coding and all that stuff during the yesterday. Fantastic talks we had on green software development. Many great things happened. So I'm really inspired to be here today, and also we feel slightly intimidated and feeling this responsibility to continue sharing some interesting, hopefully inspiring, yet useful advice, tips, and experiences with you. And I think today's talk with Denis is really about experiences. So I happen to know Denis for a few years already, and now we work closely together at EPAM, right? And since the very first meeting we had with Denis, I had this feeling that he has this very strong love towards being around people, inspiring people around him, and helping companies he's working with. And for many years, Denis works with EPAM Systems. He started here as a software engineer quite a few years ago, many years ago, right? And since then, he progressed through different ranks, responsibilities, and roles, changed many hats, and now he's building engineering organizations, that count and span across thousands of people. So, Denis, welcome.
Thank you, Aleksas. Yeah, I remember when you said like years. Oh my gosh, it's years already, and I really thrilled to have you on the team, and especially today running. I think this is one of the important knowledges and the knowledge in my life that I was trying to gather together through different areas outside of EPAM, from my sports, from my life, and within the EPAM as well. But would like to make a pretty bold statement that this experience that I'm sharing with you today is not directly related to EPAM, but it's
Right,
moreover like a personal story,
right,
and
fantastic.
just looking forward for it to be useful and sometimes interesting for
All right.
everybody.
Well, let's just dive into it. And yeah, the floor is yours, Denis. So,
Yeah. So thank you for the presentation. I would just like to add that to be honest with yourself is very important. That is why I'm sharing, like, besides the work, the things that I do. I like to ride a motorcycle. I did 4 months ride this year
wow.
through the Europe. I do lots of sports, and sometimes when I have free time, playing video games. And again, being honest with yourself
Right,
helps you to be honest with others.
right.
And moving next.
Yeah, well, guys, we really want to make this interactive, and just grab your phone, scan this QR code, or you just can go to your browser to mansi.com. You can use this code to enter there. It's 35547650, and we will also ask you actually to introduce yourself so we better understand what is the crowd with us today that we're chatting with. And since we're chatting from Vilnius, Lithuania, yeah, we can't really know and see you guys. So we're here in this room. And the first question is, what is your job title? So we already have quite a few answers coming in. So we have all sorts of people here: software engineers, project managers, agile coaches. Someone has says labas, which is hello in Lithuanian. So we appreciate that. Yeah. So very different people. A lot of software engineers, program managers, QA engineers, delivery managers, pre-sales analysts, you name it, so many. So we have already 22 responses over here. Fantastic, guys. Okay, well, I think we have a feeling of this. And the next one, um, yeah, just like, are you, what is your age? Maybe you're 45 plus and they still, keep on asking you for an idea. That sometimes happens to me as well. So we have
Pretty senior.
pretty senior, yet I think this is what sometimes is being described as an economically active audience, right? So fantastic. So quite a few people in their late 20s, in their early 40s. Fantastic.
That's
Great.
cool. Pretty diverse
Great.
group. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Thank you, guys. And one more question to ask, right? So since we're talking about the leadership topic, and Denis will be kindly sharing his own private perspective based on his personal story, please choose one. Are you considering yourself being a leader already? Maybe you're not considering yourself being the one now, but you want to become the one day. Maybe you think, guys, come on, why should anyone want a heart attack? So let's see how it goes here with the answer. So far, nothing is coming in. So I wonder if it's a just technical issue we're having, or it's just a hard question to answer. So let's give it just one more moment.
Might be some technicality, right?
Yeah, it could be. Okay. Okay. Well, let's indeed. It's a hard question to answer.
Yes, and thank you for your interaction. We have a master disaster on the audience today, so I should be very very careful helping people to advance in their leadership skills. And to start the deck, I really like today we are sitting with Aleksas and preparing together for the speech because this is the first time I'm doing that with two people, and I like this experience when you have someone and when you're telling the story, you kind of challenge yourself to be much more less bias in
That's
your
true.
storytelling.
That's true.
So to give you just a little example, I'm working with people 6 7 years, maybe a little more, and started like as a resource manager. I had a pool of people. uh, when you're a resource manager, you're usually trying to resolve different stories from different people, either related to the work or they can relate to the personal life. And every single time person like comes for you like to share the story, to hear an advice, and every single time whatever you tell them not to do, they're going and doing and experiencing those by themselves. But whenever they go to some conferences today, if someone known speaks the same things, they're kind of listening for the same things, paying money, and this advice for them is valuable. So through all of their presentation, one of the red lines is that a leadership is diversity included. You have to learn yourself how to be less and less biased. And moving the next one, a little bit agenda for today. We will be talking on the concept of the leadership. We will talk about the complexity and of the journey through the leadership, because this is not the goal. This is a whole journey. We will be talking a little bit on the industry, because this is very important context for everyone. I hope we have people like from healthcare, from insurance, from other. I myself from IT, so it will be the part of the story will be more related to IT leadership, but I think it can be extrapolated to other. Of course, we will specify some key factors, what is the team leadership, and how to get the knowledge. And I'm always trying not to give the advices, but I will try to do a short recap and some personal principles. So let's start.
And the question we want to ask you guys is, yeah, what is leadership? And maybe you can kindly share with us some of your thoughts, right? So, what would be your definition of leadership, right? So, give it a moment, just think about it real quick, and yeah,
It's very interesting because the one that I will be sharing today is not taken from the Wikipedia. It's not taken from EPUM. It's conducted from lots of different things that I have seen in the life.
right,
Yeah, and
right,
that is absolutely fine that everyone has their own perception on the leadership and
absolutely.
behave towards that.
Yeah, and we're already starting to see quite a few different definitions. Like people are saying, well, it's all about providing the guidance. It's about raising your hand when nobody does. It's about having confidence. It's about being the first in the line, getting the responsibility, delegating, getting the money, which is also important, obviously. Taking responsibility to make decisions, solving problems, leading by example, inspiring others. Yeah, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank you.
sharing this.
And that's all big aspects that you have shared. They cannot be extracted from the leadership. That's a part of the leadership. But that is the reason why I'm talking about the leadership from uh, another perspective. Uh, and today, lots of things will be about the capacity. So to me, the world, especially nowadays, what is happening in countries, in the world, in the companies, in different industries with this artificial intelligence, the amount of chaos is just bumping up. Some people are ready to that, some people are not ready to that. Ready, I mean, you have to have the capacity, your energy capacity to tackle with all of those things that are happening. And if you have the team, you have to guard a little bit the team, absorbing this challenging capacity. And then absorbing the chaos, it's one capacity, but you have to have the capacity in addition to that to transform all of those things into some actionable items for the team. uh, so basically, it's a whole capacity to transform, and this can be in the family because lots of different things happen in the family. Can be at work, this can be at sports, whatever you work with. So we will stick to this one today, and so uh, as giving an example that leadership is working with chaotic things. That is why there are some frameworks to identify what is the in hell in front of you. Is it a simple? Is it the complicated? Is it the complex? Is it the chaotic? And it's very important when you tackle the task in front of you or a challenge, you need to understand, because the way you are going to solve that, uh, it's no way with a simple way to solve the chaotic things, and there is no way in a simple things to do lots of processes, methodology, and all of those things. So just real briefly, simple is that when you know how to do it, you just need to do it. The complicated is when there are multiple ways to do that. You need to understand the context and pick up the most suitable way to do that. The complex things is that there might be other ways that are not known to you how to do that, and chaotic is where the asks is unstructured. There is one methodology on the next slide what we can use, for example, to identify what are the complex tasks uh, in IT. So we work lots of with the customer request. Hey, I need to change the business to transform the business. I don't know how to do that. What are the KPIs? What will be the success? This is definitely complex and sometimes even chaotic things. Some companies are doing the migrations. I don't know, cloud migration, data migration. Is today complicated? You have a couple of solutions to do that. You need to have a blueprints and they pick up. So, and there are other things. So again, it's important to understand what is in front of you and pick up the methodology to tackle with it depending on what is in front of you. And becoming or taking the leadership or becoming a team leader, that's an interesting point because this is a part of the morale. When you are growing in the company, you are still like a middle engineer or the senior person, you still have the same morale, but you have to make different decisions. So that is our ask to you.
Yeah, that
Can you
is.
share your perspective? What is your balance number today if you are in the leadership position, or if you are not, what can be, what you think it would be in between team interests and the company interests?
Yeah, so basically just one number, on this scale from -10, where it's like your team's interests, and then on the other hand of the scale, you have the company business interest, and what is that number you have? So we have -10 even. Okay,
That's interesting.
that's interesting. We have
So
zero. We
minus
have
is not just because it is not right. It's just to share the scale, right?
no, but exactly, it kind of gives us a very nice perspective. How different some people think. We have 7, we have even 12, and we have -10, we have 0, we have 5, we have. Yeah, it's an interesting equation going on here, right? So
That's cool. Yeah,
also looks cool, pretty cool on a slide.
you can just take a look like into the fire, like it plays the numbers.
Yeah, yeah. All
Um,
right, but I must say that just judging by the size of the numbers, quite a few people picked
the middle
5
one.
or 0, right? So that's quite a few people here. So, all
Uh,
right, Dennis, shall you give your perspective, your
yeah,
personal take?
yeah, I will definitely. So the worst position in all of that is exactly in the middle, which is 0.
Mm.
Because when you are in the middle, you're an enemy for your team and you're an enemy for the business. So whenever you move into the leadership and move into the leadership meaning making your life complex, you have to admit to yourself. Of course, different situations are different. Sometimes you can have more into the team interest, sometimes you can have more into the company interests. So, but overall, to have well positioning balance, it's more towards the company interest, the number you pick up yourself. Um, and uh, the point I want to make next is that you need to understand the industry you are working on today. Again, this is the healthcare company, this is automotive company, I don't know, the travel company, or this is IT company. And I will try to explain on the example from IT world why you need to understand the history, how it was built, and because here you may project the future where it moves and be much more prepared as a leader towards that. So just very shortly, we have started the business, the product engineering, you remember maybe 90s, 80s, the diskettes. So there is SAP, you buy a diskette, you put into the desktop, you install that. There is a software running, and companies were building this end-to-end the product. Then some companies appear and say, hey, we may test your software cheaper in India. So we have a testing service, just give us your software. And this is how services have started to appear, engineering services, testing services, and others. Then those companies have matured in their growth and they moved into the product development service. They say, hey, now we can not only do the testing, we can develop the key turnover product for you from zero to the full product and the full rollout. And now, as digital exists for a long time, many companies have built gazillion of products within the same portfolio, and they have the platform, and now you need to orchestrate. Sometimes we see the request when people, companies come in saying, hey, we have 12 platforms and 3 different accounts per person to maintain. Can you make a single account for all of them? This is where the platform orchestration is starting, and that's leveraging like public clouds and other things. And then on top of that, there is a consulting bumping up. This can be technology consulting, the business consulting, and the projects. That is the reason why the projects today in this landscape on the right side are so much complex that you're just not implementing a single product. You need to take a look into what is in the ecosystem, how to start with it, what the end customers, what is the initial ask, etc., etc. Again, your industry may look completely different. The key point is that you need to understand where you're working if you want to progress towards the journey of the leadership. And one more example, this is completely different mental challenge. So the picture is old, right? It's 2019. You can imagine how much it is in 2023 right now. And this is only data technologies. So, and the example I want to give you here is that whenever you are going to the library or going to the Netflix or whatever you want to choose something, when you are going to the library in 12th century, you see like 40 books. You're thinking, okay, which one I will read for the 5th time to remember that. Now you come to library, you have no lifetime to read it all. So this is mentally completely different based on what you need to pick up. And this is one more challenge. This is the complexity. And the only way to do that is to make the choice, right? Some people are stuck, they are not making the choices, but you need to make the choice. This is that was a responsibility part of the voting previously. Again, this is one more perspective, and let's move next. This is the part about the context. Again, this is more related to my life example where I operate as a leader. Today, you cannot be successful if you're just only proficient in something particular. This is the baseline. Like people can absorb 1 or 2 very deep areas. Either this is the industry or the consulting or whatever it is. But the point is, and this is not the guess, this is the true. To progress in the leadership, you have to absorb other contexts, which is how to work with people, a little bit overview of the technology. This is what leaders in other industries are facing today. They're CEOs of big pharma companies and others. They have to hire a CTO to understand a little bit on the technical landscape. And again, the point in here is that, yes, invest deeply into your primary area of the expertise, but don't hesitate and invest additional time to take areas on the left from you and on the right from you, so you will be able to see more holistic picture. Because if you will take a look in the CEO of the company, he needs to understand, or she needs to understand all of that to some extent, to some deepness into that. And the one more perspective, just very briefly, other contexts of the leader. You're a leader, you have to like understand what leadership means, what the tools you use for the leadership, because digital is still there. You manage your team, I don't know, your tasks in Jira or any in any other tools. You have to make the choices. You have to be responsible for the results of your leadership. And if you are a leader, definitely you should have a team, and you should work with the whole team. You cannot say like, hey, I don't work with this person, I don't like this person, and like I will concentrate on others. No, you will have to find the rules for the game in such a team. You have to collaborate. You should be caring of the team health, and you are not only the team. Hopefully you are doing something useful. In IT we build the products, and you need to understand the business requirements, the market for the products. You have to work with the stakeholders. I've seen so many people saying, hey, I wouldn't work with this product manager. I don't understand what this person is saying to me. It's so much distance. But the truth is, you have to go further. And uh, as we're speaking today, in our industry, usually a product is a part of the bigger picture, bigger platform. You need to understand how it ties in a whole landscape, to be care of the end user, not only of your product. We have seen many cases like there are 10 different products, everyone caring about their own product, but the end user experience is shitty. And uh, so that's one more context, I would say. And usually in the big organizations as EPAM, I'm a part of the bigger department where we have some specificity. So today I'm managing Lithuania and Latvia. So this is my kind of the department. I need to understand how it all works. There are other departments that I will need to find a way to collaborate with. I need to share the knowledge. I need to absorb the knowledge from them. And finally, it's last but definitely not the least, you are part of the company. I've seen so many people, hey, I'm just sitting here working there, I'm just blaming my company. Be honest with yourself. Study the company. If that company doesn't fit your journey of the leadership, it will be hard for you to succeed in that. You have to project the company values. And again, the trickiest part is the leadership is to find the weak points in all of that, kind of try to prioritize them and make improvements to the team, improvements to the department, improvements to the company to some extent. And just some of the pillars about the leadership, we'll try to be very briefly though. So team management experience, you can read lots of books, lots of articles, Attendees and other things. This is the baseline. So leadership and team, they go along. So the first one is know your responsibility. Sometimes managers come to people and say, hey, would you like to become a team leader? Definitely. What should I do? Tomorrow we'll decide. So know your responsibility, what you're responsible for, what you are not. The productivity. So nowadays, everyone is very much can bring different value to the table. You have to understand how to work with all of those people, no matter what t-shirt they wear, no matter what mood they come with. You have to learn a lot, that we are speaking about the technologies, about new principles, what is going on the market. You have to be able, have the capacity to absorb all of that. Whenever you have a team, you have to connect your team inside the company to other departments, to other communities, and make the collaboration. Sometimes connect people outside of the company. So you're kind of building the bridges constantly. We are all keen on doing funny things, cool things, technological, new technology, artificial intelligence. Let's bump artificial intelligence in the boots. So focus on the value. What's valuable in what you do for the company and for the people. And moving to the leadership, you should forget about everything was done today. I can go to home like with no technical or organizational depth. There are always things in your head, and things will be bombarding you, you should find your way how you work with emails, I don't know, with tickets, with all the intakes that you have, and somehow prioritize them. So this is the baseline, and on top of this baseline, you can build your knowledge in the technology, in people, in domain, whatever you name it. So be sure you invest in the baseline before moving top.
Right. And let's imagine, guys, a situation, you know, you receive a job offer, maybe the one and, the one you received recently or some time ago, and you're already in that job. But ask you a question: what does the company actually buy from you? So we're very curious with Denis to know, what do you think about it? Like, if you would be a company, what you're actually buying from the people you
Good.
hire.
Yeah.
So let's give it a moment, wait for some responses. So it's still on the same Menti, and hopefully you have your
What's your
phone.
personal take when you think about that?
My personal take, it's, yeah, well, it's really about the time and the expertise and even the life experience, not necessarily even just professional experience.
Someone
So
sells the soul.
yeah, well, that's very poetic, and I think there are some types of industries where that's happening indeed. Also, quite a few nice books about this. But apart from
Makes
that, we see
sense.
what: time and experience, responsibility, trust, value, knowledge, expertise, skills, common sense. Yeah, well,
That's cool answers. They're majorly in the point.
yeah, I personally really appreciate this trust one. I think that's very interesting twist to
Yeah.
have. Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic, guys. Thank you
Yeah.
so
Thank you
much.
so much. Again, that doesn't mean that those answers, guys, that you have provided are wrong. Yeah. So I would like just to focus a little bit on the knowledge and the time. So then we will speak about the knowledge, because I think today, overall, getting the knowledge for human beings is not the straightforward journey. And those stories that I will be talking to you, they are not my personal stories. I took them from the Carlos Castaneda, from their books. So let's move next. So um, I will be speaking on couple of enemies or obstacles that you can see when you gain in new knowledge. I have seen it through all of my career, and we'll be giving an example, climbing the mountain. Um, so we are, as a human beings, we can project how we will feel on the top of the mountain, what we'll get when we will climb the mountain, how hero medal or whatsoever. That's our strong part at the same time that gives us the power to move on. But uh, when you start to move towards this mountain, the path is not straightforward. Sometimes you need to get back. Sometimes you need to climb. Sometimes it's a whole of a maze. And whenever the next step, you don't know where it will lead you, you started to fear. This is essentially, do I need to make this step? Is this step right? So advice in here is just trust the journey, try to find the capacity to do the next step, and to do the next step. Don't expect the reward immediately, and win this battle. Whenever you have overcome the fear, you have reached one mountain. So in order to move to the next one, you have to go back, and maybe you will climb, I don't know, 3 mountains. But on the first mountain, when you climb onto that, you think, okay, now I can do everything. I'm clear about how this all works. And sometimes this clarity can blind you. Whenever you have just become a, I don't know, a junior engineer or the manager, you can behave yourself like, now I know everything. You lose this newbie mindset, which is important. There is no way you will be able to learn everything out of it. So it gives you imaginary power, which you yet don't have. And of course, then you have climbed 10 mountains, 15 mountains, then power comes to you. Uh, you can have a medal that you have climbed every single mountain here, but if you will travel to Mars, I think once upon a day, the climbing there will be different. An example here is, well, if you are CEO of the company, I don't know, big and small, and you are coming into the gym, if you will behave as a CEO in the gym, you will learn nothing. I have seen so many people through all of my career in different companies that come to the meetings. They just tell everyone, hey, I told you do this, just do this because all of you are stupid. So that's the power. Sometimes it works in crises, sometimes it is not. So to recap, there are three pillars, three enemies that you will face during your journey. Either you're becoming a team lead, or you're learning new technology, or you're learning to run a marathon, whatsoever. You should consciously understand if you fear, that is fine. If you think yourself you have a clarity, challenge yourself. If you feel yourself behaving like you're having the power, stop doing that.
All right, fantastic. And moving forward, and since we're about to talk about things like mission statements of a company, their visions, we wanted to open up this part with just asking you guys a question. Maybe some of you know, what is Tesla's mission statement? So we have already some folks answering that it's commitment, effort,
Innovate,
innovate.
do great shit. I like
To
that.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Challenge the status quo, transition to sustainable energy, quality, innovation, accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for participation here. And a couple of you are very spot on because it is indeed about that.
Yeah, and this is when you're working today on some product or on anything else, you have to understand how this connects to a whole company mission and vision where they move. Because usually people, sometimes this pretty major audience today, usually people say, "Hey, Tesla is about cars," right? So the key point, and I will share from my point of view. So I work in the company, and how can I lead the people towards the brighter future if I don't understand the vision of the company? And to give you an example, we are helping the businesses through the digital products to be competitive, to achieve next levels of their services to their employees, to their people, through our deep knowledge in the technical consultancy, business consultancy, and our engineering power that we have in here. So the point in here, if you want to succeed as a leader in the leadership in your context in your company, you have to understand why company moves there. If you don't understand, just ask the questions. Why is that?
All right. And we move once again to Menti. And now we're asking a simple question. Just reflect for a moment about yourself, if you already consider yourself a leader, or maybe yourself in the future, or maybe someone you work with and you appreciate that person and consider that person a leader. What is the most important quality of a leader? And we have right away a few very good answers, guys. Empathy, honesty, integrity. That's very important indeed. Vision, emotional intelligence, discipline, self confidence, humility. Love this one. Patience. Yes, please. Facilitation, delegation. Great answer, guys. Thank you so much.
The discipline I like the most.
Giving security to the team, strong decision making, grit. Fantastic, guys. Thank you. Thank you. So, Denis, shall we move on?
Definitely. When we were talking with you about this particular section, we were thinking about either those qualities or the principles, and they are definitely connect, guys, to what you have shared with us. So to me, it's more like sounds like a principles when I need to make some decisions or I'm in a complex situation, I'm lower down myself into some principles that I should take to make those things happen. The next, the first one is context is very important, right? So every single decision that you make in terms of technology or the processes or assignments or whatsoever, what is the context are you operating in? Is it the team context? Is it the company context? The next is about this. Um, uh, Everyone, majority of people know Scrum, right? So there is this ceremony every single week or every single day, the status meeting. Everyone hates them, saying, "Hey, why you should know that those people are doing?" It is very important because when you will be making decisions, probably today fixing very critical bug, and there will be no one around, you have just two options: either to decon yourself into that, or just say, hey, this is not my problem, let someone else do that. And as we started from the bias, judge the decisions in the context. I have seen as well the situations where people are coming into the same room, and there's some smart guy with a crazy t-shirt sitting, giving some cool idea. No one listens to him because like they don't like his t-shirt. And this is totally bias. Um, I have seen lots of great engineers. They are able to code the things that no one can. And I have seen them stuck in their career because, for example, they are not able to sell their solution, their crazy ideas to business, to customers that don't have this capacity and the skill set. Sometimes they have crazy technical ideas which are not connected to the business, so they cannot promote them, and those ideas are sitting on the shelves. So you have to invest into other areas besides your primary area of the expertise. Um, and jump into whatever you have on your plate. No one knows when you have the second opportunity to do a pre-sale. If you have an opportunity to do a pre-sale today, or you have an opportunity, I don't know, to go to the conference and be a speaker, maybe tomorrow, in a week, in a year, there won't be such an opportunity. Stress out yourself, go out of the comfort zone and pick up this activity. Uh, don't wait for yourself that you will do it on a professional, excellent way from the first time. That's a part of the life, a part of the journey. Just keep improving into that. So whatever flies around you, try to grab it, try to work on yourself first, and make a success out of that. And let's move next. And no one listens for me about the sports, any kind of sports that they're connected with your productivity, with your mind getting rest. I think half of the year back, there was a speech in one of the museums in West Lithuania, which is a governmental institution there. They invited the person who runs ultra marathons in the high mountains and the forest. He was given a speech how mind is connected with the body and vice versa, how you can push each other in between your mind and between your body. Because whenever there are complex situation, chaotic situation, the most weaker part suffers first. I have seen so great people mildly great when they need to solve a complex situation. The body is just not moving. They struggle with the headache. So there are lots of information. I would just want to share the one TED talk that I have heard. 10 minutes, make your own decisions based on that. There is one more perspective of the leadership, pretty modern one. Part of my speech today about the catalyst, about the bridger, was taken out of that. This is how the leadership has changed in the current world from the previous one. Again, 10 minutes watch, make your own decisions, how to look into that. Let's move next, and let's just wait for the video to come. I hope you can hear the sound. There are lots of people who like to travel. And sometimes people are biased, like this building on the screen, right? They may say, hey, visually not good. This is shitty place, but there might be a cool history. There might be a beautiful landscape behind that. Traveling open-minded allows you to see the world from a different perspective. I have traveled, I don't know, more than 10 countries those 4 months, trying to be open-minded with every single culture, with every single country. You're like going to the Spain, you think those Spain guys are just crazy. That there is a garbage everywhere. How do they live? But they live completely different. So traveling open-minded gives you an opportunity to see the world from the very different perspective. And this is important on the challenge, because the complex situation, there are always challenges and opportunities. Sometimes people see only challenges, they forget about the opportunities. You need to have a different view on that.
And since we're getting very close to the very end of this presentation or recap, I want to ask you before we do so, before Denis kind of wraps up his speech and shares some of his high level, top of mind thoughts. What is your main takeaway already from this presentation? We both hope and believe that we managed to spark some inspiration, some ambition, maybe even provided Dennis kindly provided quite a lot of very personal, very deep and kind experiences from his side. So, Dennis, people are saying that we need more leaders like you, like yourself.
We have to invest into cloning a bit, I think.
Fantastic. Well, healthcare and life sciences picking up here in Lithuania, so maybe that's the next challenge we're going to embark on. People say that, yeah, well, definitely traveling more will inspire those leadership qualities. And people are saying that, thank you, this was a good refresher. Um, yeah, staying true to your mission. There are people that now actually feel that they want to become a leader, like this type of a leader you just have described. Some people say stay hungry and stay foolish. So I guess that's not a way to, approach this open-mindedness
Yeah,
topic, right? Beginner's mindset, as they say in
yeah.
Buddhism. And actually, quite a few people mentioned that. Being human is key, changing your mind. Yeah, well, great takeaways, guys. Um, Reading Castaneda also helps for sure. Um, Leading is a journey to challenge yourself, investing the time into this craft. Leadership is a craft, it's a balance between being a human and a manager. And it's important to be a valuable person both for your team and company and kind of find that balance, right? Fantastic. Thank you, folks.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think there are great takeaways. I would like to highlight a couple of the short one from my side is um, all of the challenges are about the belief. If you believe that you can change the situation for better and you do just small steps towards the vision and your belief, that helps a lot. Um, Capacity. Find your way to replenish capacity. Some people replenish the capacity swimming, running, reading the books, taking good coffee, taking good whiskey, I don't know, running the helicopter or whatsoever. Do this stuff as a part of, sometimes people forget, sometimes I forget. I have a challenging meetings, challenging days. Sometimes I say, hey guys, put on stop, I'm going doing some sports. Uh, See the world from the different angles, as open as you could be, and have a capacity no matter what to do the right things, whatever it takes, not shortcuts. Sometimes you have a trade-off to do the shortcut. The shortcut is today tomorrow result. The vision and the mission, they are midterm, long term, and sometimes you need to do the right or back turn towards the mountain because it is right now. That's a hard lesson for me, especially for the leader. No one cares what happens in your life today. What leg did you start your journey today from? If you are in a very bad situation in the life, do something with that. Take a rest. Take anything. But if you're a leader, people still see you, and to some extent they can behave like you, and you won't be able to take the to make the first impression the second time. That's it for today, and let's jump into the questions.
Fantastic, Dennis. Well, before we do so, thank you so much on behalf of our audience, myself. It was a pleasure for me to share this moment with you. And I think, guys, thanks for those takeaways. I think many people, indeed, if not everybody, right, appreciated the stake. So I guess most of you guys noticed that we haven't had any like corporate branding in this presentation or something like that. But obviously, Dennis was sharing very deep and personal story, his very private experiences. A lot of those experiences obviously happened during your days here at EPAM
Yeah.
Systems. Nonetheless, yeah, it's very deep and I think it's very moving story, very interesting take on leadership, and I really appreciate the inspiration that you shared with so many people today. And speaking of questions, actually, as far as I'm concerned, we have a few, um, and let's start. So we have a few questions. Um, right. So the first one. Um, Do you have a chance to feel the difference between leadership on the skyrocketing plane and leadership on the droning ship, ship in the sea, droning down, all that? So that's an interesting question from Yuri. What do you think, Dennis?
Yuri, I think this very good perspective that brings a lot of thinking into my mind. Definitely, I didn't experience that yet. But I think the leadership in the physical games, such as sports, such as basketball, I don't know, the football and others, might be a little bit different. It's more about kind of the team leadership, team play. Sometimes they have those leaders as well. So I think it will be nice for me to try something from that, but I will
Right.
have to learn and face
Right.
all of those enemies on my way forward learning. Um, that's a question that makes me think.
Okay. Well, let's move to the next one. And the question is, leading a company versus leading people, is it the same or it's different somehow? And as a leader, have you ever been in a situation you had to justify any of your actions by saying business as usual and business is business?
Let me start from the second part. Whenever I have time and opportunity to talk with people on the reasons of my decisions, I take this time to try to explain people why I made such decisions or why company makes the decisions. If company makes some decisions and I cannot explain them, this is part kind of the vision story. I will come to those people and would try to understand why we as a company making those decisions,
Right.
to not to say, hey, I'm just your manager, I'm making these decisions. And it's very that's cool questions that I have never thought about in between people and the company. In our business, I think today the company are people. There are two successes. There are customers and the people. They don't live without each other. And I think to some extent, leading the people in this area where I work mean leading the company. That's my first draft take on that.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, Dennis. Um, there is one more. I mean, it's kind of. I think it's a question and both a compliment, I suppose. Yohani is saying, "Why are you wearing T-shirt with a Batman logo for so many years?" So most likely someone who knows you quite a bit, right?
It looks like someone knows me because coming to the office, I know 50% of the time something with a Batman comes.
Right.
That's the part of the story that I didn't embed. The Batman is kind of the not the hero. He is a hero and anti-hero at the same time. It's a noir person. There is noir genre in the comics and in the movies, and it reflects the capacity to make very hard decision, owning the responsibility. It's not
Mm,
always when you need to be a shiny hero. Sometimes you need to be a person to be blamed for everything that is going on, and you have to take this responsibility. This is why Batman kind of correlates with some those principles and the qualities of the leader for me.
right. Right. Yeah. Even though I guess there were quite a few references to the Matrix movie, it seems like the Batman is still your big favorite.
Yeah, and the Matrix is about to see the world from the different things.
Exactly.
Yeah, those.
Right. Okay, well, we have one more question, which is actually the last question from our dear audience today. And the question is very practical. So maybe, Dennis, you can suggest any learning materials, to work on someone's leadership skills. Maybe some of the books or podcasts, whatever interviews on YouTube, maybe that you're checking out every now and then yourself.
Uh,
Maybe something that really changed your perspective somehow most recently or back in the days.
yeah. The interesting thing about myself, being honest with myself, I hate reading. I just literally hate that. Reading Castaneda for me is a challenge that I'm trying to overcome every single time. The same with the podcasts about professional stuff, because I read the gazillion of emails and chats. So one part of my life when I consume some interesting stories and materials from people I work with that are bringing to me, hey, this 10 minutes interesting thing, invest time, watch. I do have a huge list to do, uh, but still I'm to some extent bad at this. I'm trying to invest. I'm not successful into that, out of capacity doing that sometimes. On the leadership, I encourage you to watch this 10-minute video with the QR code that I have shared, just 10 minutes. And I think
Mm,
from there, you can take other references to other research right now about the culture as well. One more interesting thing that I have watched very, very recently, it's questionable, but I think there are lots of common sense in that. It is Jordan Peterson. That's one of the psychologists and current philosopher of the world. He puts some good perspectives as well on the leadership. Part of the definition that I take today about the leadership comes from there. Invest time, like watch 3 or 4 of his videos. Again, this is not the mantra. This is not something that you should take. Nothing in the world you should take as it works, right? So you have to absorb the context, absorb the knowledge. So Castaneda, Peterson, video. Um, for me, that was it, honestly.
right. Well, I don't know. Maybe if nobody minds, I can just refer also to a couple of
Maybe you can share. Yeah.
podcasts, right? So there is a fantastic podcast. It's not just about leadership, but um, in many ways it is. So it's called The Knowledge Project, and it's a very nice old podcast with a lot of people coming there to the show. It has this very nice flow, and yeah, the topic of leadership, mental models, kind of best practices, habits, all that is discussed there very well. So I really recommend the knowledge projects. But then again, I think that's more than enough, because even that one or the things that Dennis shared, it's already will open the rabbit hole, to many, many more things. And I think we are about to wrap up today's session. And we hope that you really enjoyed this talk. I personally really appreciate the time, Dennis, you invested here today with us. And thank you so much for sharing your very personal, deep story. I would even say a reflection, a very deep, private reflection. So we do appreciate that. And we also hope that coming up next, it's a little coffee break. So, guys, enjoy the Lean Coffee with our friends. And we wish you to have a great weekend. Just like Dennis was sharing before, it's important to refresh, get
The
that
capacity.
energy. I
Yeah.
think those 2 days we're having with this conference, EngXCommunityDay Community Day, is fantastic. Also, kind of getting a lot of energy in, but also, it requires energy to go out. So have a great weekend ahead and enjoy the rest of our few final talks. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming and allowing me that's one more perspective. When no one is watching, you are talking through or not talking through. So when people are watching, so that's the cool thing. Thank you, Alexis, for moderating that. Thank you for helping me make new changes in the way in the story. And every single time I talk to that, so it's not just to share the story. I never like I, I want to go to 10 conferences to share the story. Every time I speak about that, I'm trying to challenge it a bit if that still works with me.
Right.
Have a good coffee. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.